I'm Debbie Statler, Editor-in-Chief of Provider Magazine. Today we're going to spend a few minutes with Shelly Peterson, President of the North Dakota Long-Term Care Association. Welcome.
Thank you, Debbie. Pleased to be here.
Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you become involved in long-term care?
Many years ago when I was in college, I had received a scholarship in my senior year from the North Dakota Department of Human Services. And I thought, what a great opportunity. They gave me a scholarship and the requirement was you had to go work for them after graduation. So at the first opportunity of a job, it was in long-term care. It was awesome. And so I accepted the opportunity and worked under programs with the Older Americans Act, so developed programs and services to keep people in their homes, communities, for as long as possible.
That does sound like a good combo, scholarship and a job
yes,
after graduation.
I was happy. It was exciting.
Well, what are the top legislative and regulatory priorities right now for North Dakota in the area of long-term care?
We have one association in North Dakota that represents about 200 providers of long-term care from assisted living, basic care, and nursing facilities. Our top number one priority with both our nursing homes and our basic care facilities was money. Because without money, you can't perform mission. The vast majority of all of our members are nonprofits and even our for-profits. Everyone has a mission to care for residents, providing the best possible care, and with that you need the resources to do it. North Dakota's always committed the resources, but we went into just adopting a new payment system in 2023, or in 2022. In 2023 we did a fair rental system, and then in 2024 we wanted to implement a quality component to it. And it's taken a lot of resources. So our goal and aim this legislative session was to get all the money to continue our new pricing model, our fair rental model, and then implement the quality initiative. So we got a 17% increase in money, over $100 million, fully funded. So it was a successful session. For our basic care members, which they serve the more lower income assisted living in other states, they have a very poor payment system. We did a study this past year, and it was abbreviated because of the pandemic, but we came up with some very specific recommendations on what we needed. We increased their funding 42%, which was they desperately needed the money. It went immediately into the pockets of facilities this July 1, and they're going to better be able to take care of their residents in their care. The other thing that was kind of neat was we got money for residents. The personal needs allowance increased. It was $65 for nursing home residents. It had been $65 for 10 years. So that went up, that's going up to $100 on July 1. And the same thing with our basic care residents. That was at $100, and now it's going up to $135 on July 1. And you know, that was families reaching out, families saying it's not enough money, and when you look at it, it wasn't enough money. So it was really nice to do that. A couple other priorities is guardianship. You know, we have generally when a person needs a guardianship, you reach out to families first, but we have people that don't have families, don't have close friends, and are in some difficult situations, and maybe they've been exploited, and trying to get guardians. The pay that they provide was roughly only about $300 a month, which is not very much money, and these people generally have complex issues. So that funding increased, almost 200%. And so those fees will be able to increase, which I hope will attract more people. We have some really good guardians. We just need more people to consider it, maybe as they're retiring or they're looking at something, or they were caring for their parents and their parents aren't here, to consider being a guardian. The last thing that we're really proud of is we worked very, very closely with nurses and some key legislators to get an Office of Immigration reestablished in North Dakota. We had one in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It closed well over 100 years ago. And the mission of North Dakota then was to get people to our state. And then it closed when there was the Depression was in the 1900s. And we thought, you know, we need more people in North Dakota. We can't fill the positions that we have. In long-term care alone, we've lost 15% of our staff. And we're having a very difficult time recovering. Our contract nursing increased this last year from like 28 million up to 68 million in costs. So tremendous. We need people. And so they did fund an Office of Immigration. They tweaked it a little bit. it became an issue of legal immigration or illegal. Well, we don't want to establish an office of illegal immigration. So fine, put that word in there. And with that came support. It's going to be in our Department of Commerce. It's going to be for all businesses in North Dakota, and literally we need people. We need people. So we're going to try to attract international nurses, people from other states even, that might be immigrants there and are just looking for other opportunities. We have lots of job openings. We have high satisfaction in our state. It's a good quality of life, good people, and we just need more of them. So those were our legislative victories. The session just ended, what was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Probably a month ago already. It seems just yesterday. So we were pleased with it.
Well, those sound like wonderful programs and ones that are really going to make a difference, especially with the increase in funding for guardians and workforce issues. How has advocacy changed over the course of your career?
I was thinking about that, and for me, I don't know that it has changed that much. It really hasn't. To me, it's still all about relationships. It's getting to know the policymakers, it's getting to know your members, and it's engaging your members. Our most powerful force in all of the issues that we advocated on was having the facilities tell their story. It's simply just tell your story, what's going on, how is it impacting you, how is it impacting residents and the people that we care for. So that has not changed at all. In fact, it's become more important. It's relationships, it's nurturing those or building those. And getting our members. I always say, I need the cavalry. I can deliver the message, but you guys are the ones that sell the message. You're the ones that have the true story to tell. And if they know and understand your story, they will support us, and our legislators have. And if you don't tell your story, then there's a void there, and then they won't know what to do. And so it's just simply, I don't frame it in lobbying or advocacy, it's just tell your story.
And what do you tell providers who might want to start getting involved, building those relationships and telling their story?
Number one, don't be afraid. And number two, just get to know your legislators, get to know your community, get to know your family and your residents, because that's the other group that's very powerful, are our families and our residents. And they always say, well, give me some talking points. And I always go back to, okay, how many staff do you employ? What is the impact in your community? What kind of residents do you care for? Who needs care? So it's like, then they realize it's just telling their story. It's, they hold the facts, they hold the information. And then what does it mean when you have staff that call in or quit and you don't have anyone to take care of residents? How do you function that day? What do you do? What are your options? Because they still need care. And talk about having to go to contract agencies and what the cost is for that, and the turnover of your staff, and how we desperately need staff. So it really is just encouraging members, as I said, to tell their story. And if you don't know them, they don't know you, but they want to know you. I often say, legislators really want to hear from you. In fact, when they don't hear from you, they're disappointed because they hear their colleagues saying, hey, so-and-so reached out to me and this is what he said. Do you understand that? And so if they haven't had that story from you, they're not going to be able to advocate for you. So give them the tools they need to advocate. They want to hear from you. And we're a better citizen legislature when you do communicate with your legislators. And with that, the thing that's been so awesome over my career is just seeing people blossom. People that never knew their legislators, people that were afraid to tell their story. Just give them a few tips, get them started, and they do an awesome job. And that's really neat to see.
That does sound wonderful. Sometimes the biggest step is the first step.
Absolutely, yeah.
To make it easier for folks to tell their story.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Shelly. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you.